Hi, this is Grandma at We Code Make Code. Today we're going to look at the development of Spin Blaster. And what you're looking at here is, let me go get myself smaller. Okay, this is as it is seen on GitHub. And we will just minimize that, and this is Spin Blaster's code. Now we're going to do a very brief demo, and then we're going to develop from scratch. Okay, this I'm sorry. When I do this demo, I want you to think about what kind of code you would use to develop these features. So that's the instructions, and so you shoot with A. Now notice when I shoot a polygon, a spinner actually, the gun turns red, which means I can't use it again until it has recharged. Now notice that the polygons are in various sizes, and they have a varying number of spokes, and they spin at different speeds. And when I hit one, it has a jolly fall to the ground. Now let's try going to the beginner. When we're doing the beginner, two things happen. One is the spinners are much bigger, they're kind of hard to miss, and the gun moves more slowly. When you hit watch this number. When you hit a spinner, whoops, then the score increases by the number of sides. So this one has just 3, so the next score is 27. When you miss a spinner, which is very hard to do, and I missed one, the score goes down by 1. Now let's play at the advanced level. Oh boy. Finally I got it. Yeah, I'm not very good at this, particularly when I'm thinking and talking. That's doing 3 things at once, my goodness. Okay, there are several ways I could make this advanced level harder, but I decided not to do it as yet. Now what else do I want you to notice? Notice that when we do a blast, there is I call that the particle, because this is a particle blaster. When there is a particle ball that goes to try to hit the spinner. And what else? Okay, that's probably about it. Okay, this is the code. Not very difficult. It's a simple shooter game, but it has some nice bells and whistles. So it uses what you would expect. After we get started over here, you then shoot spinners with the A key, and then there is this is when they collide, so that's how you know when you have a win. So that's pretty much the structure of the program. All of this code has to do with setting the various levels of the game: default, beginner, and advance. So now let's just do this from scratch. Start a new program. We're going to call it Scratch. Now, the first thing we need for Scratch is we need the extension. See, it's not there. So we're going to add an extension, and I've already downloaded it from GitHub, so we just need to select it. Now, once I have installed it, well, oh my goodness, I know what's wrong. Actually, I'll just show you this. Polygon comes in 2 parts, and Spinner is all together. This is because we're running on the beta. And that's not what I want to do because of this problem and other reasons that I am not quite sure will do what I want. Okay, now I'm not on the beta. So now when we see this, it thinks it already has the extension, so I'm gonna, I think maybe starting over is a good thing. Sometimes it's just good to start over. We're going to add that extension again. Now, you know the definition of crazy, don't you? Keep on doing the same thing and expecting different results. Well, we'll just keep going because this does not appear to be beta, although I guess I would like to just make as sure of that as I can. Okay. It's not that I don't like beta, but it does have a few idiosyncrasies still. Okay, somehow I think the actual editor has been switched out by the beta. So I think that everything is going to be fine. I believe that the program will run just as it does. Let's just check that out. I have done this before, but it's pretty brave of me anyway. So we'll just try a few blasters. So see, everything operates as it should. Okay, even though we appear to be in beta. Now, do you know how we can verify whether or not we're in beta? Whoops, that's not what I wanted. Sorry. I heard that. The way you do it is you do a function, make a function. I just use that one. And then I see if function has returns. It doesn't. So something is completely weird because usually my polygon comes in one place and they're at the top. But okay, I'm not going to bore you with that. Let's have a polygon. Okay, now we got a polygon. We're going to let it have 3 sides, which is a triangle, and we're going to give it a radius of 30. Both of those can be changed. Then we're going to have make a spinner out of it. And we need to have a polygon here to make a spinner. Just like you have an image when you make a sprite, you need a polygon when you make a spinner. And its speed, if its speed is 0, it just sits there. Okay. But if its speed is something else, a high number, there it goes. And if it's a lower number, it spins more slowly. Whoops, -5. Because I gave it a -5, it turned the other direction. What I actually like to do is this. Oops. Here you get the opportunity to tell it which direction to go, including random. So let's just have one that's random when it starts. Before I forget it, next week we're on Twitch. We're moving, so that should be fun. Okay, now we have a polygon. Now we want our spinners to come out kind of up here. So rather than right in the middle. So let's just give us set some of its characteristics. We will set it to there. Now how do I get to the sprite in Spinner? Well, fortunately, Spinner has just what you need. Right there. Okay, I needed polygon. Sorry. And we want to set it up to, we'll have it be at 0x. See, it's up in the corner now, 0, 0. And we want the y to be, maybe 40. Okay, there it is. Now we would like for it to move across so we can shoot it. Okay, so to have it move across, we just need to do the same sort of thing again. We're going to set its velocity, we're going to set its velocity to how about 100? Whoops, where did it go? Okay, you know where it went. We need to have it bounce off the wall, which is something I do fairly often. Now we should have it bouncing. Now we could give it an acceleration, which would make it more difficult, but let's not do that right now. Okay, we have a polygon up there. So now what do we need now? We need a gun. So I made a gun out of a sprite, calling it a gun. And the way I did it, and let's have this be a gun. Went to here, because I'm very lazy, I went here, and I went down here till I found something that sort of looked like what I wanted for a gun. And I found it right there. In fact, there's one that's kind of green. Okay, now where do we want to put this gun? Well, we're going to set its bottom. Set its bottom at the screen height. You know what that is, so you could hard code it, but why worry about it? It's at the screen height now. So it's right there on the base of where we want it. Now, when we where do we want it to start? Let's start it over here on the right. So we're going to set the gun's right to screen width. Okay, and we want the gun also to bounce off the wall. I copy whenever I can. Lazy, lazy, lazy. Okay, now my gun is all set up except it's not moving. So we need to set its velocity. So that would be something sort of like that. And we'll set it to, let's see. Yeah, we can set it to 100 because it bounces off the wall and goes back the other way at 100. Okay, 100 is what the default is. Now we need a particle. We need to shoot at it. So we're going to shoot at it by hitting button A. And we're going to have a particle And I'm going to do just what I did before. I'm going to find me something that looks kind of like a particle. Okay, that looks like a particle, except it's not the colors I want. So I just go through here and make it look more, make it look meaner. Now it's beginning to look more like a fireball, which is sort of what a meaner looking thingy what might do. Okay, that works for me. Now we got a particle. And where do we want to put it? Now, so we want it to start out right on the tip of the gun. So what would that be? We're going to set its bottom to be the same as the gun top. Isn't that cute? Aw, come on. There, set at the gun top. And let's just hit A and see what happens. There it is. Well, it's not moving with that, or it doesn't just like do anything. Okay, let's make it do something. I see one thing that's wrong. It should be, when it appears, it should be where the gun is. So we need to set its X to be the same as the X of the gun. It's gonna be, that would make it right in the center of the horizontal. So the sprite's X, the particle's X will be the same as the gun's X. Okay, so I want you to stop doing that. Now, if we start it again and we do that, see, it started right at where the gun was at that point. But we don't want it to stay there. We want it to go up pretty fast at that point. So we want to give it a Y velocity. So we're going to give the particle a Y velocity of, because we want it to go up. I hate it when it does that. Okay, I go to math and I get myself a 0 and put it there. Oops. No wonder. Okay, I want it to go minus 100, which means it will go up. Okay, now let's try that again. Well, yay! It's doing it. Good, 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 good. Okay, it's going up just like we want it. And we could fancy it up by giving it the trail and stuff that we did before, but right now we're just doing the bare essentials. The next thing we need to do is to make something happen. When the particle collides with the spinner. So we're going to use Sprite overlap. And when a sprite of kind particle overlaps with a sprite of kind polygon, whoops. Okay, I don't have the polygon. I must not have given it a kind. Let's just go back here, and we want our polygon to have a kind. Oh, that's, of course, I'm going to go to here to do it. I thought about putting it in the polygon, but it's easier just to do it this way. So I need the kind, which is way down here somewhere. Set, there it is. So when we're building this guy, let's call it a spinner. Okay, so when it hits a spinner, we want it to do something. What do we want it to do? Well, we're scoring, yay! So let's increase the score. Score is in info, and we're going to change it by something, and we're going to need to set it to 0 somewhere along the start. So somewhere before we take off, and we want to do something else. So let's have the spinner stop right in its boots. So how would you do that? Well, we would set my spinner speed to 0. Not my sprite. Oh boy, come on, baby. My spinner. Now, let's go over here and do that. That is not working. My spinner speed to 0. Same thing. Okay. Well, I'm not sure why it's not. Oh, maybe it is. Okay. I keep forgetting something. Nope. Wonder if this is an old version of the add-in. I don't think so. Okay, we'll stop worrying about that. I'll just move on. We're going to set, now other sprite is other sprite, now speed is the rotation speed. So it should have stopped turning when I set speed to 0. Let's see if it works if I set it to 20, so it would speed up. Well, that's unhappy. So this may be an idiosyncrasy of the beta within my add-ins, which obviously aren't the way they should be because they're not in the place they should be. I'll also tell you they're not coming out the color they should be. And I do think that it's not an old add-in. I think the problem is that it's not working with like I want with the beta. But we're just going to trudge along. And I'm going to figure out why I get the beta when I didn't ask for it. So now let's just set other sprites velocity to 0. Because that's the spinner. And we're going to set its acceleration to 0. That should cause it to stop moving. All in the X direction. Nothing about this is making me happy. Okay. Let's see if the score is changing. Maybe this is not actually working. That would make me happy. On Sprite of kind... Why didn't you tell me I had a mistake? It's Sprite of kind... Not spinner, but not projectile. Didn't I give that particle a type here? Okay, let's go look at the particle. Over here, I created a particle. I did not give it a kind. Well, it could be the player, because player is causing the projectile. That is the action of the player. So that would actually make sense. So let's just stay with that. And I bet this whole thing works. Oh my goodness. Look, stopped in its tracks. And it stopped spinning. So, see? I jumped to the wrong conclusion. So basically, everything seems to be working correctly. Thank you. I like that. Now, is the score increasing? Yeah, score is increasing. Good. Now, when we hit here, we're going to change the score by 1. But what's really fun is to change it by the number of sides in the polygon. So, there. This makes the big polygons, I mean these polygons with lots of sides, give you more scores. Yep, watch that. Okay, now I don't want that thing to just hang there, plus I need another one. So next thing we want to do is make it go away. So we're going to we're going to give it some Y acceleration. And its other sprite. And let's go for 150. That. I'm getting used to a new mouse. So sometimes it slides down off my... Never mind, you don't want to know about that. Okay, now I think maybe it will drop. If I ever am so fortunate to hit it. Yep, there it went. Oops, it bounced. Okay, that's obviously not what we want. We want it to... what? I think we want to destroy it. So, does spinner have a destroy? Yes, isn't that handy? We're going to destroy my spinner. Okay. And my spinner destroys the associated polygon and the sprite. Now, I think we want to, well, let's just try it. Always fun to try it. See, it just totally went away. We would like to see it kind of fall to the ground and all that. So what we need is a nice little pause. Maybe 1 second. Okay, that's fine. Could be more interesting. So we now, of course, the obvious thing now is we need another polygon. Another spinner to shoot at. So how do we do that? Well, we're going to make a function because we're going to have to build another spinner, which we've already done once. So we're going to create a spinner. Create a spinner. And let's look at this code. Here's where we start making the gun. So everything before that is making the spinner. So obviously I need to call it in the beginning before we make the gun. Okay. And then I need to call it again after the other one's destroyed. Now, I've learned the hard way that you have to allow a pause here after the destruction before you make a new one, and I'm not sure about all the dynamics of that. It's kind of boring having all these be 3s, isn't it? Why don't we go up here and do something different? How about a random? That's my pugs. We're going to pick random between 3 and 10. Well, how about 8? You can kind of recognize them up to the octagon. So now let's hit 1. Okay. Now, did you see that? That polygon came back. I think maybe that's because I don't have the pause in there. Not sure. Let's put a pause anyway, just for the heck of it, and see what we get. Sometimes I've actually gotten 2 spinners on the board at once. Okay, so let's make this just a little bit more interesting by giving the particle a spray effect. Not a spray effect. I want it to be good grief. Use my magnifying glass here. A trail. I think maybe a trail does what I want. Let's see. Okay, that works. Now it would be a whole lot more fun. We had that spinner go a little crazy when it gets hit. So, well, and also it'd be nice if we had some sound, but we'll do sound later. Okay. And so we want the, let's do another effect here. And we want this one to be fire. It's burned up. Let's see what that does. Okay, that works. Now when the gun fires, I think maybe it should also have, maybe it should be fire too, but okay, these are the artistic decisions that you can futz with at a later time. So if I want to make that spinner go a little crazy, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the spinner speed to after I set it to 0, then when I get down in this area, I'm going to set it to 20. So it looks like it's like totally going nuts. And then I want, let's see what that does. Now look at that. See, I'm getting these multiple spinners. And the reason for that is I don't have enough delays in here. So let's just stop. It's kind of fun though. Let's stop this. And I'm going to put a pause I'm going to put several pauses in here. And then I'm going to put some reverse directions from the spinner. This is a feature I just added, and it's really kind of fun. So I'm going to set the spinner's direction to reverse. And we're going to do this again. And we don't need this much pause, but let's try this. So we're going to pause 300 here. I've futzed with these quite a lot to get them to work the way I want them to. We'll put the same here. And the same here. Just before we destroy this. And then we need a pause after that. And then we're going to call launcher. Okay, let's just see what we're going to get here. That's cool. Okay, let's look at that. See, it goes a little nuts. Now look at that. And what happened there? It launched a whole bunch of them. And see, I haven't seen this before. So, not a problem I've had before. Oh, I know what's happening. I know what's happening. I had to fix, yes, I have seen this before. So the way what it's doing is it's going into this event. They're overlapping and it's running more than one at once. So every time it runs one, it calls this create a spinner. So what we have to do, and this happens a lot in using Arcade, we're going to give us a nice if statement around this whole thing, and we're going to make a variable called in overlap. And we're going to set in overlap to false when we start. So I'll put that up in the start in just a minute. And it'll be the last thing I do when we leave. And it will, here we're going to test for it. Well, actually, we're going to set it to true. The first thing if we get into here, and to get here, we have to have a not B overlap. And why did I have the B in front? It's just to remind me it's a Boolean. For some reason I just see this is and this sure acts like acts like the old Arcade. Okay, if it's not if it's not in overlap, then it can do this. But if it is in overlap, it'll just jump right back out of this. And so if we start off with this being it's not in overlap, then the only time it will have this be true is when it's in there. And then if it tries to come in again, it will not be able to until it gets through with the last one. This is something very important to remember. And sometimes, just anytime you have something weird going on and you have a lot of events, or if you can let the user, if you let the user can go crazy on the buttons, then you get some behaviors that you don't want. So now let's just try that again. Now, one interesting thing here is I can launch as many balls as projectiles as I want, And this is something we also have to fix. And the fix for this was to have the gun has to power back up. Every time it shoots, it has to wait a while in order for it to power back up. And then you noticed on the other program that the gun turns red when it's not powered up, and will turn back to green at the time it can do its thing. Now, do we want to do all that right now? What else do we want? Well, let's add some sound before we go mess with the buttons. Let's see, I've got 20 minutes. Well, sound is incredibly easy. So we're going to add a middle C, which is, it's what I think of as the clang. Add a middle C. Play tone, middle C. Play melody, play tone. Okay, sorry, I had trouble finding that. So we'll play that tone somewhere in here. Okay, we have a tone. I also want a sound when we fire the projectile. So how about playing, I play Magic Wand when I fire the projectile, so we will, I tried to find something that might sound a little more interesting, but I didn't. Play sound. Where's Magic Wand? Play sound, Magic Wand. Okay, let's try. There. I had the wrong block. Now let's try it. I think I'm going to turn down the sound on my computer, lest this drive you nuts. Okay, so we have a little sound. Now let's go back to this problem that we can fire as many particles as we want to. And so that would mean that the game can always be won no matter what. So this is a very important thing to do. So I introduced this variable called where I keep track of the start gun charging time. Start gun charging time. And I'm going to put in an on-game update. Let's see. Well, let's initialize something first. When I build the gun, we're going to do a on-game update. And we're going to have a great old big if. We're going to have another if inside that if. The first one we're going to check is if the time since start has been as long as I want it to be. So what we're going to say is, let me make this a little bigger. Whoops. The time since start. So I need a comparison, and I need a subtraction, and I'm going to say if the time since start, which is in game, minus that start gun charging time is, oops, it goes there, is greater than 1 second. Okay, I don't know why it's what it's saying there. Object is probably null. So because I didn't set this, I guess. So we can do that. We'll just set it to 0. That made it happy. Yay. Okay, then we need to do one other thing. What we're going to do is we're going to call, we're going to have a function called gunReady. And we're going to have another one called gun charging. And if it passes this test, we're going to say we're going to call gun ready, but one other thing has to happen, and that's we're going to need this exact if statement right here. So I'm going to duplicate it, throw away everything inside it, bring it over here, put it right in there. Probably don't really need that because that's testing here anyway, but it just seemed neat to me to do it. So, okay, gun ready. Now, what's going to happen when the gun is ready? Well, two things. I'm going to set a variable called bGunReady to true. And of course, I'm going to set it to false when I have this function. Now, one more thing I'm going to do is this little thing, I'm going to change its color. So I use change color, which is an image. And it's way down here somewhere. Change color from, okay. Change color in the gun from, if it's ready, we're going to change it from red to green. And if it's not ready, we're going to change it from, if it's going to be charging, we're going to change it from green to red. Let's see if that works. What I did in the production program was to give it more red and green, more green areas, but this is probably going to look pretty good anyway. Well, okay, if you say so. Oh my gosh, what did I do? Oh, I set gun to image somewhere. It says I made gun into an image. Here's a gun set to being a sprite. Sometimes that works. So gun is a sprite. Okay, you can see that, not my problem. Okay, let's see if some more errors. There it is. See, I treated gun as an image. That's what happened. You're so smart telling me that. I really appreciate it. So what I need is the sprite's image. Like that. Then the gun goes there. And I need the same thing right here. And then all will be copacetic. Cool. Well, okay, now everything is working. Now let's just try this. Okay, it didn't change color. So maybe there wasn't enough green in it. No. Let's just look at this thing. On game update. Call gun ready. Oh, there was no red in it. There was no red in the initial gun. No wonder. Okay, we're gonna go back to our gun where we made a gun. Oh, I know what I'm gonna do. Let's see. No, that won't work. When we start, we want the gun to be ready. So we're going to call this function gun ready. See if this doesn't help do it. Okay, gun's got lots of green in it. We call gun ready, and what gun ready does is change the red to green. Okay, so I need to start it as gun not ready. That's cute. Okay, how about this gun not gun charging. See if that works. Okay. Don't know why. Gun ready. Should have blocked. Maybe it's a different shade of green. You know, I don't know exactly what this is, so. There is some green in it. Let's put some more. Not that that should matter. Okay, we have 5 minutes left, so I'm not going to be able to debug this here, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to the actual finished program and show you how this works. Spin Blaster. We're going to look at the code. See, we start with this runs when on start, and here we run gun ready. When we build the gun, see, it's mostly green, but it is the same shade of green. Now we got some pink in it, and then here are the two routines. When we set the gun to ready, we change the gun image from red to green, and when we set the gun charging, we change it from green to red. And then I needed that. Okay, that's good. Okay, I forgot to put that in there. If we don't update the gun charging time, then it will not work as we want. Anyway, you have been a wonderful audience. I don't know what that means. Fake sneeze. What? I don't know what that means. Okay. At any rate, I appreciate you, audience. And I want you to please come next week to Twitch. And I think it's Twitch TV /MS MakeCode. And all of the MakeCode channel on that's now on Mixer will be moving to Twitch next Monday. And it's going to be lots of fun. Okay, I've enjoyed having you, and I hope you're happy. And is there anything I can do for anyone before I leave? Did I give you all the links? Anything I can do to make you happy? Well, not anything, but anything coding-wise in 3 minutes. Okay, bye. I am